Casa De Klub. I like that. Nice.
Hey, we like that too, coming at you, something so brand new. We in a new stew, and the vibe so true, kinda like a Cy Young, he had to go grab two. He with that Arizona Wildcat, in that upside down hat, and how many have I had staying with me? Round two.
Welcome back to another episode of Casa De Klub. We're here with four-time Gold Glove winner, Platinum Gold Glove winner, new World Series champion, Kevin Kiermaier. Thanks for joining us, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. What an honor.
Yeah, first off, congrats on a phenomenal career. It's not often you get a little fresh world champion on the podcast, so
yeah,
definitely excited to dig into it, hear about all the things. Obviously, pretty historic World Series.
Yep.
Might be one of the greatest teams ever assembled in the Dodgers. I guess let's start with when you got dished out to LA. You know, being a guy that was at the end of your career, you knew you wanted to go out on top. Was there any other options in your head outside of the Dodgers, or did you know that's where you wanted to go?
No, I had no idea where I was going to go. And a little backtracking, like I knew going into this whole year was going to be my last year. I would have got I got my 10 years on May 7th. I wanted to get that, but I just knew from a body standpoint and a mental. I said I got one more year left of me, and there's no way. Just knowing what the previous couple years, what I was going through, like in August and September, I'm like, there's just no way. But did not play good. When I was with the Blue Jays, we didn't play good as a team. I did not play good individually. And I knew leading up to the deadline, I said, man, they're either going to trade me, or if no team wants to take me on, I'm most likely just going to get released, because the Blue Jays wanted to bring up some young guys, rightfully so. They gave me plenty of opportunities, and I just didn't take advantage of them. They treated me great from the get-go, but it got to the point where we started shipping everybody off, and then it was the last day of the deadline, and I was like, I don't know what to think or what's going to happen. I'm getting traded, or I might be done. And then end up getting called into the manager's office like 30 minutes before the game. I was in the starting lineup playing the Orioles, and bench coach DeMarlo Hill said, hey, need to see you. So I knew something was happening, and then John Schneider, our manager, had Ross Atkins, our GM, on speakerphone and said, KK, you're going to the Dodgers. And right away, my heart started beating, and I knew that everything that I just experienced was all a possibility, because they're in it every year, and they had a great team already, and going over there and seeing that was amazing. But I went out there and knew out west is my first time ever out there. Played out there plenty, but I'm an East Coast guy and all this, so I knew there was going to be a lot of things to get used to. And from the get-go early on, it was one of those things. It was tough. They were trying to have me do all these different stances and everything, and I just could not get into my groove. And I knew, I'm like, these players are seeing me at my absolute, the worst I've ever been, in a way, just from the product I was putting onto the field. But, played good here and there, and the guys really liked me just for who I was, and that helped me I knew I was taking a lesser role from the get-go. We were acquired guys who were trying to get healthy, and I knew I was kind of like the guy to fill in for 2 to 3 weeks, and if I would have done good things, who knows what would have happened. But didn't play great out there, played good defense, but it was one of those things where I was thrilled to be out there, and like I said, just to have the playoff run that we just had was amazing. The playoffs were that was probably the most fun run I've ever had playing in my whole career, and I was only active for one series, but watching these guys and just buying into it, and those guys having a crazy level of focus was unlike anything I've ever been a part of. So it was amazing for me to experience, even for how long I've been in the big leagues, but what a blessing it was. And say, going back to that, walking in the manager's office, I'm like, where am I going? When he said Dodgers, it provided comfort in a way, because I felt like I had a chance to get dealt to a team who didn't know what they wanted to do. Are we going to try, or are we going to just
1 foot in, 1 foot out?
And where I was with the body standpoint, I knew I had to have a great opportunity to get me through, because my hips and back just not good this year, and I needed something to look forward to and help me get through August and September. And shortly being a Dodger, I knew that I was I was in for a whirlwind with the talent, watching Shohei and Mookie and Freddie and all these guys every night. It was incredible and finished it the best way possible, but it was an absolute blast.
It's quite a gathering of talent in that clubhouse. But like you said, I mean, it's the other stuff. It's how close they were. That's what stood out most to you.
That's what stood out.
Yeah, you guys seemed like you could just tell from a fan's perspective, like that clubhouse, you guys were tight.
I always say, and you can see the teams on TV every year, like the best teams have the best players, but the players who care the most. And even like watching Phillies team the last couple of years, like it seems like those dudes are so close, and they have so many good teams year in, year out, and there's teams that just look a lot of fun to be a part of, and there's other teams that's just like, whatever. But with the Dodgers, when I got traded there, and my first series was in Oakland, and from the first advanced meeting we had at 5 o'clock, the way they just said everything and blew through everything, I was just like, wow, it blew me away. Was with the Rays and Blue Jays, and loved my time at both organizations, and felt like we had all the information we needed and then some. It was just the way that Dodgers personnel conducted everything, and it was like everyone was paying attention. And you're in some of those meetings and years pass, and guys are just kind of just like, okay, because you do these meetings every day, like you do these every day, going over pictures and all this. But I was blown away from the get-go, and even throughout the 3 months I was there, it was incredible how good like the staff is there at their jobs. Like they hire people who are just so dang good at what they do. And from a player standpoint, once again, guys showing up, never complaining about meetings or like just showing up and talking and engaging. And then they go out there and do what they did at 7 o'clock every night. And like just everything, breaking down guys' grips and tendencies and all this, and be like, hey, 2-1 count, this guy's gonna throw a slider, sit on it, you're gonna do damage. And it would happen over and over. And I'm just sitting here, and the guys would just think nothing of it in the dugout. And I'm like, man,
they're used to it.
Crazy, because they are, and they've been doing it for years. There's levels to it. That's how I describe it in the Dodgers, just with the attention to detail, players buying in, and like just guys just being about business and winning no matter what, like individual stuff. It was a team that I saw who didn't care about individual stuff more than any other group of players I've ever been a part of, and it was like, just win. That's all we care about. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever, and I learned so much, and I'm so thankful that I got to see it from that vantage point, because I'll remember and process things that I saw in my 3 months there, and apply it, and hopefully help other teams, other players moving forward, just because they're doing a lot of things right over there, and it was a joy to see.
Yeah, you've already heard a bunch of Dodger guys come out and say that you guys went into that World Series and just knew you were going to win.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, from a talent standpoint, you're the favorite, but the scouting reports are just that good, and what they're telling you, all the players are like, yeah, we knew exactly what to expect, and it pretty much happened.
And a lot of times, like, you sit here and like, if you're around long enough, like I could sit here and just tell you how I'm going to try to face every pitcher. I get 100 guys right now, and how they like to attack me and all this, and guys are just bouncing ideas off each other over and over, and little things like that matter. Having a group text, and like I said, regular season was great, but the playoffs was just a different level, and guys are texting each other every night. Hey guys, this is what this guy's been doing in playoffs. I know it was like 75% this pitch and this count in regular season, but playoffs it's way less. So it would just be little things like that where as a player you just appreciate. You wanna be. I feel like I bought in a ton, and you just want your teammates to do the same, where it's like, hey, this matters more than anything. And I know the way like everyone else, everyone's on the same page. And another cool thing I thought the Dodgers did right when I got there, they don't celebrate like individual victories every night. They celebrate series wins, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I've always done a post-game celebration for majority of my career. Corey's seen me get all crazy in that clubhouse, and I like having fun, but they're like, hey, we win each series. That's when we, do like a little shot of tequila, a little toast, stuff like that.
Did somebody
and I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
Did you walk in first day after
No, I didn't know.
Like,
Or Kevin Biggio. I played with him in Toronto, knew him. He's like, hey, we celebrate series wins here, not even wins every night. And I was like, man, I was like, that's badass. I like that. Like,
And
you
never
win
heard
the
that?
series. I've always heard of that ever. Never. And then to see it, it was really cool because even like Don Mattingly, started the year with the Blue Jays this year. He's like, you win each series, you go to the World Series. So every time you're always like, we'd always celebrate series wins in years past, but like that's the only time they do it, and it's like okay, that's why the Dodgers win every year, because I mean it's just, I don't know, you create like a certain,
It's a standard.
yeah, a standard, and it's just like this is what we do here, and I was blown away by that.
What about from a talent perspective? Like, he had a great long career. Is Shohei one of those dudes where you're just like, what's going on?
Yeah.
The only guy? Like no one else?
Chills. He's different from everybody who we've ever seen. I'm telling you, man, this dude in the cage, I could sit here and talk about him all day, because before I get into his talent, like the way he treats people and 50-50, like the night after he did that,
Yeah.
just getting on his iPad looking at his like Japanese comics or whatever, he would just think nothing of it, like just another day.
No big
Truly, and you know when other guys are like trying to be humble about stuff, it's like, I see right through that now. Hey, he's the man. Has every accolade, all the money, everything, and treats people phenomenal. So I will root for him for the rest of forever. And with that being said, I walk into the batting cage one of my first days. Oakland wasn't, that batting cage is way out there, but when I first got to see him like in LA and we could watch guys' routines and do all that, this dude is hitting the ball 115 off of front toss. And I've never, like the Razor Blue Jays, you never are looking at your exit velo or anything in the cage. We never had that set up, and all this technology's taken off, especially the last couple of years. But I know when a ball is hit hard and when a ball is hit loud as can be. And once again, from the day I got there to the last game of the World Series, this dude, I mean, people are just amazed walking in that cage every day with how hard he can swing and how hard he can hit the ball. And we all get up there after and hit like BP. So he's DH every game. So in between at bats, he's taken like a round right before, like when he's up in 3 or 4 hitters, he's taken
Really?
6 to 8 swings off our guy, and he would like take 3 warm-ups, and his last 3, he would like grunt and hit, and I mean it would sound like a shotgun in there. And then me or other guys would go hit right after, and we'd look up at the track, and he's hitting 109, 115 consistently. We look up, get like a 96, 97, because it's BP, and it's whatever, it's in a cage, a controlled environment, and no one is coming anywhere near it. But I've never seen anything like it, and he's one of one.
I'm fascinated about, like, where does he find the time in the day to do everything? Like,
I know.
I mean, you and I know what it takes to be
to
try to be good at one side of the game. I mean, I know he didn't pitch this year; he was rehabbing, but still.
I know he.
Was he still doing pitching stuff like throughout, even though he didn't throw?
Yeah, he would throw and have trainers would have a program with him and all this, but he was very structured with what he did, and I mean would go. He didn't really do a whole lot like leading up to the games, or I mean he would get his body ready and all that, but that hour before the game starts in, that's when he starts locking in and doing everything. But a lot of time, like we're all at our lockers, he's sitting here looking at pitchers, pickoffs, and times of the plates all day. Like you realize when I was there in the regular season, he stole 30-some bags and he didn't get caught once. He got caught a couple times in the playoffs, but I'm like, I think he was 32 of 32 in the second half of the season. I'm like, and none of these aren't even close, but you sit here and watch what this dude's doing at 3:30, 4 o'clock. He is like slowing this down, watching over and over. And if you give him any room, like he wanted to go and he wanted to swipe bags, obviously 50-50, but a true student of the game and did his homework like no other, and got nothing but respect for him. But he's different than everybody else, and everybody knows that. Like you get great players like Mookie, Freddie, Kershaw, who's seen so many different guys and people blown away by him.
They're all in awe of him,
each in awe every night.
It's almost like, I mean, you got Mookie. He's obviously a superstar. Him and guys like Freddie are like in the backseat to Shohei.
Yep.
And it's
crazy.
just everyone's cool there because he's just on his own
Yeah,
level.
and I mean, just that's another thing about the Dodgers. You hear about like the big three future Hall of Famers in 1, 2, 3 every night. Mookie or Shohei, Mookie, Freddie, rightfully so. But I'm like, man, you don't forget about 4 through 9 any given night. Like there wasn't a weak spot, really, it seemed like. And, I mean, watching these guys hit every night and just play and dissect teams was incredible. Never seen anything like it. And true credit to everyone over there for just like that locked in major focus, unlike anything I've ever experienced. And we won a World Series because of it. And I knew for so long that it's not easy to win those, and those are the little things that it takes. I mean, those teams who want it more and got to execute at that perfect moment. It's those little things like seeing a tip or something like that where made the opposition pay over and over.
What was that celebration like? I saw Dave would call the MVP up and you would like juke it out like you guys were getting pretty hammered.
We were having fun. I like to keep it loose and have fun in as many ways as I can. But the parade was one of the best days of my life. Everybody was just clicking on all cylinders. Everybody's having a blast, and definitely had a lot of liquid courage throughout the whole day. Then Mookie had like this after party at his house. That was
he was doing the podcast, right?
Yeah, and then we did a little episode up there, but his house, like in the hills of California, and it felt like we won the World Series, and it was just the coolest way ever for me to like exit out of my big league career. Next day, catch a flight back to Florida with my family, and it was just everything I always wanted to experience and be a part of, and thankfully the Dodgers traded for me. And it's funny because Brandon Gomes, who is the GM or baseball operations there,
former teammate.
Former teammate. I lived with him in spring training, and I always knew. I'm like, dude, you're going to be what?
I lived with him in AA.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I said, man, and he was always like talking to our front office people when he was at the Rays, and just had a really, like his word usage. I'm like, dude, you're going to be so good at this one day. Like,
yeah.
And I thought he was a nasty pitcher too. I'm like, this dude has 6 pitches. He's nasty. But in those, knew him very well. And he got me hooked up with the University of Tampa. I love Brandon Gomes. In the celebration, I'm giving him and Andrew Friedman hugs, and I'm like, thank you guys for trading for me. Like, this is so much fun. They didn't have to, and they said they always wanted me and always loved what I've been about, and it just makes me feel like I did all the right things along the way throughout my career to get that opportunity. And like I said, I couldn't end it any better way. So I'm at peace, I'm content, and I'm a happy man.
Who surprised you with the booze? Who could booze the most? Did the Japan guys get after it?
Put
on?
Yamamoto, he's the man. I feel like he can't drink a lot, but he's always down to have a good time. I don't know. I can drink some beer. I feel like a lot of guys are always like, man, you always like this? But I like to, and plane rides and bus rides, I like to have fun. But I don't know. I feel like that team wasn't like huge drinkers, but definitely, I mean, guys could put down champagne and some beer in them celebrations. So that was.
Plenty of practice at it.
Yeah.
What about playing for Dave Roberts? Like a guy like that, obviously Dodgers have had a ton of talent. Mm-hmm. And I feel like you hear every year, it's like, oh, is he on the hot seat? Is he on the hot seat? And he seems like the coolest manager to play for.
Yeah. He's got a lot of fire, he's intense, very animated. Like on the bench, he'll just scream and just through the good and the bad with umpires. It's hilarious. But kind of felt that watching him, like seeing him on TV and the camera pan over to him and him, barking at somebody but he definitely supported his guys, and from a player standpoint, you love that, and you want someone at that top step who you can trust, and if it gets a little hairy or a little nasty, you want someone to stay composed through it, and he did a really good job with that, and he treated me well, and guys love him. So he did very well, and he's had a lot of talent come through those doors through the years, but he's very good with communicating with guys and just having those conversations more times than not. And he knew what he needed to say, and I feel like a lot of guys can hold back in certain situations, but for him, he's been there, done that, been around a while where timing is key with those things, and I thought he was very good with that. So I love playing for him. I love people, who care like that, and he cared more than anybody out there.
I've heard that his communication is off the charts. Like,
Yeah.
he's on the pulse of everybody in that clubhouse.
Same thing with the front office too. Like when guys were hurt, like Tyler Glasnow, he, had some love him, play with him in Tampa, and one of my best buddies, one of my favorite teammates ever, and he dealt with some injury stuff there, and you just always saw like people come sit next to him in his locker and just have that sit down. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but
make him feel like you're still part of things,
yeah,
right?
just feel like you're a part of it, and like not texting or calling. Like he's very good at face-to-face stuff, and once again, front office too. Like they were just always in the know of everything, and I feel like from a player standpoint, it's like you don't want those guys around too much or hovering, but they had a really
Do it the right
good
way.
feel and a good blend of like when to be around and all that. But these guys know to let the players kind of be and let guys have their space. But yeah, once again, there's levels to it, and they do things very well over there, and they know the message they want to distribute each and every day to each player.
Is there an element to winning this year for the Dodgers? And I'd be curious to hear what you have to say because you're on the other side of it in 20, and you hear it after you guys win this year. Then Dave Roberts comes out and says, like, no one, now what are you going to say? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
About 2020. Do you kind of feel like you need to get that full season World Series for some of those guys? And
No, so before that 2020 season, and I know a lot of people will say everything, but I remember with the Rays, I'm like, hey, I want to be the team with the least amount of excuses this year. I'm like, this counts. It counts to me every bit, and I hope you guys think it counts too, because we're going out there playing on our teams and, making money, doing everything I could do. We don't have fans in the stands, but this counts. And I know it's not ideal. It's whatever, but and then that was one of my most fun years ever too. But not trying to get off topic. But so when people talk about that, and for me, I was on the losing end of that. But
Yeah.
the Dodgers players who were still there after the 2020 season when they won, like they heard a lot of that from people from the outside looking in. And that's just a time where people can have their opinions and be like, oh, that didn't matter, that didn't count. I say bull crap, that counted. We lost it. Whatever, Dodgers were better than us. It's a lot more, it feels right when you're playing in front of 40, 50,000 rather than like we had 14,000 in Texas when we were playing them. But once again, people can say what they want about that, but that counted. Dodgers got a World Series out of it. People can sit here and put their opinion on it all they want, but
it seemed like Dave was a little bit, not like relieved,
yeah,
but you could kind of tell.
It's one of those things where
Quiet the critics. Right?
I think the reason because of it's like, okay, you guys can win if it's a sprint in a 60-game season, but can you see it all the way through? And with all the talent you've had and not winning recently, can you guys sustain it and do it again? And sure enough, we did it. And with the guys that they're bringing back and additions that they're always in the thick of it. They're gonna be in the running for years to come as long as Shohei and those guys are there. So
it might be better next year.
Yeah, they might. It'll be
scary.
crazy who they add on to and all that. But
do you guys think this is the Dodgers next 5-10 years here is like one of the scariest teams
Set
that
up to
you've
be.
seen?
They're set up to be. Obviously, injuries and stuff are always a factor there, but they're set up really, really well.
And that's what I love about baseball or any sports. Like you can sit here and be as good as you want on paper, but at the end of the day, you got to go out there and play. And especially like for us, I feel like the hardest series for us was the Padres. Like we knew.
I keep hearing guys say that. Was that?
Yeah, that's a
Was that-
rivalry for one.
sure.
But for like Cease, Darvish, Mike King, like nasty pitchers, and their lineup like. Ton of dudes who could do damage. So that was a series where a lot of bad blood with guys, Dodgers, Padres. So that one definitely seemed a lot more magnified than we knew. We played a Mets team that was hot, and then a good Yankees team. And I know like Dave Roberts and a lot of other guys said that they felt like that Padres series in the NLDS was the most crucial one. And once we won that, felt like we really liked our chances, no matter how things played out. But
it does seem like that's the biggest rivalry right now in baseball. Like you can tell
Both.
the Dodgers and Padres hate each other.
Both really good teams at the moment
Yeah.
with star power. It's a good formula for good rivalry.
Seems like no one talks to each other though on the field when you guys are playing. Like no one's.
That's
really
the way it should be, though, man.
That's a good rivalry.
But you see a lot of teams now. A lot of guys just chat when they go on base, and
I think I've said I did it my first few years, just trying to, like, Adam Jones. I really respected him a ton, and I would do it but I would not go out there and shake hands and hug. I would just do one of those. And nowadays, like, guys are just chatting it up and whatever. I'm way different in that sense, but
we're old school in that sense.
Yeah, old school.
Right.
And I'm like, man, yeah, exactly. How can you call this a rivalry when dudes are sitting here, like, hugging before games, hat backwards, like, just laughing it up? Once again, have your fun. But for me, like, when we talk about rivalries and stuff nowadays, I'm like, everyone's too buddy and all that. But the game, game's changing and adapting in so many ways, and I'm glad I'm getting out at the right time, because I tried staying old school as much as I could. But
it gets harder and harder.
It is, man, and it's crazy the stuff that goes on nowadays. And I try not to be a hater, because once again, you gotta adapt and accept it in so many ways. But I just think baseball, the respect and just the stuff that goes on now, I can't believe it. And I hate saying it, but I'm like 3 to 5 years from now, I feel like it's going to be hard to watch with the antics and the stuff that's going to go on, just with the trend it's been going at. But
it's changed quickly. There's not really.
But I'm
anything
old school for sure.
There's not really anything to stop that momentum either.
What else are you touching on? You mean like pimping home runs and stuff like that?
Yeah, everything, like dudes like screaming into the dugout when you hit a double when you're down 5 or 6, and the home run, like the celebrations in the dugout. I'm not a prop guy for home runs, because I've always sat here, and when I was at the Rays, I said, fellas, as long as we're here, we are not having a prop in that dugout. I'm sorry. I was here when we sucked. We have made this a really good team. We all got to the big leagues by being authentic and not trying to be like anybody else. We did what we had to do to get here. Just because these other teams are doing things, I'm not a follower. I'm not a follower at all. I'm not doing this because other teams are doing it. It all started with the turnover chain at Miami football years ago. And then I was like, you think this will get to the big leagues one day? And it did.
Sure enough.
And it just gets to the point where if you do those things, whatever, guys are having fun. I have fun running. I have fun jogging around the bases, dapping my teammates up in the dugout. I don't need a prop I don't need a prop.
What about this?
And when you do it, yeah, that was tough. That was tough for me too. I didn't want to do it. That was tough. I haven't never even talked about that. I'll get into that. But hey, when you're down 6 or 7 in the 8th inning, and you have a prop that you hit with a home run, if you're in that makes it look awful in that moment where you're putting a football helmet on or whatever, celebrating a home run when you're still down 7 in the 8th. But that's my opinion. That's how I view it. Mm-hmm. But once again, I'm old school, and I just not into that stuff. And yes, the Dodgers, the Freddie dance. I think Freddie, he had a little bit of wine one night, and he just started like dancing, maybe from what I was told. And like they're like, hey, we're gonna do this for the celebration.
Oh my God.
And for me, the couple of times I did do it, you do it on an extra base hit. And the times I did it, I just tried doing it real easy, just move on, because I didn't want to do it. And guys were like, hey, you got to do this. I said, I'm not practicing it. I'm not doing it. I don't care. Like, let's just, I hit my double. No.
So you were getting graded on it?
Never. Would never do that. I've never attempted the gritty, all the virals. Like, I don't do it, because I swear it's like, I don't know, everyone just is so caught up in what everyone else is doing. And I intentionally like don't do these things not to like fall in to that trap. But I knew when I came over here, I'm like, all right, if I hit a double or a homer, I can't just do it. My thing the last couple of years, I do this thing like slight work. Like, no, that ain't nothing, just slight work. And I did that with the Rays, Blue Jays. And when I came over here, I'm like, there's no way I can do that. I have to do this because I have to be a part of the team. I can't be the only one. I just got traded over here. I can't be like, I'm not doing it. They're about to be like, okay, you're released. Or, the teammates would have been like, okay, why does this dude think he's too cool? Yeah. So I did it, and it was whatever. But thankfully, I only hit like 3 or 4 extra base hits. So I didn't have to do a whole lot. Just do it in the dugout when someone else does it. But once again, you adapt and you do whatever. It's kind of a thing now that. But now, like Little League World Series, my kid will hit a homer in the backyard, and he'll spike his bat, and I'm like, what is going on? But it's 2024, and things are evolving.
I guess when you think about it, like doubles dances weren't really a thing. I guess I'm not old enough, but
I feel like
You just take your
last couple of
shin
years,
guard
maybe?
off and elbow guard off,
till
and you
when
hand it.
though? At what point in your guys' career did you start seeing dudes
I'd say
grittying on the bases?
2023.
I feel like it was like 20
yeah,
parts of it in like 21, 22, and then now it's just amplified. But even like back in the day, coaches, I mean, everything's changes. Coaches used to wear like the standard turfs that they would get in spring training, like black and white. And now coaches are every third base coach, every first base coach, pitching coach, everyone's got Jordans or some kind of like Nikes, like special edition, like whatever color coordinates with your jersey.
Yep.
Like you're getting showed up to the field, which I don't like either. Video camera, what like guys are plotting out their outfits and what they're wearing to the field, and this is like the stuff that I don't like. So once again, I'm getting out the game at the right time. I can be a coach and always have my opinions and thoughts on.
You gotta make sure you get your
everything.
Jordans.
I gotta get my J's, yeah, my Fungo and some J's. Yeah.
So you weren't. I feel like you had swag though. You just didn't want to overdo it.
No,
I guess you looked the part in a uniform.
I was always. I heard Kirk Cousins say years ago, he's like, no swag is real swag. And I think that I believe that too. I don't need swag. I like getting results. I like playing hard. There's times out there where we're feeling ourselves and confident in so many ways, but I never, like when we had themed 4th of July or Father's Day, like never wearing those themed cleats because I don't care how I look. I care about my feet being comfortable and I'm doing that. But you see the guys who wear that stuff, and more power to you. It's in here, and I mean our apparel companies treat us so good and send us everything. But I'm old school in so many ways, and once again, comfort over looks 7 days a week. Never an argument.
Shift gears a little bit. So you played so much of your career here in Tampa. You live here now. What do you got on the stadium situation? They're gonna be playing obviously across the bridge this year.
Crazy.
I think it could be bad news for St. Pete.
Well, yeah, I was heartbroken first and foremost when I saw all that stuff, and I saw that video. And my wife told me, she said the trop or the roof blew off at the Trop, and I couldn't believe it. And I saw the video, and it broke my heart because that place, people say what they want about that place. A lot of opposing players don't like it, but I've always loved it from the get-go, and I mean that. And that place was my second home, and that's where I feel like I created myself in a way. And my memories and everything there, no one can ever take away from me. But at the same time, I don't know if they'll ever get things going there.
Have you seen it in person yet?
What's that?
Have you seen it in person yet?
I have not seen it in person.
Wild.
Do you go over there?
Yeah, we had to go over there for one of our son's doctor's appointments a couple weeks ago. We drove by it.
But I plan on retiring a Ray at some point. I don't know when I'm going to do all that official stuff, but I was hoping to, give a speech and do everything out on the field that meant the world to me and was my home field for nine seasons. Now I don't know what's going to come of it, but I know the people with the Rays and they got some decisions to make. I'm glad I don't have to make them, but that's crazy that they have to deal with this. So we'll see what happens.
How weird is that going to be for the Yankees going to play at Simon?
Yeah.
Like, how many times did they play?
I
the
know.
Rays?
Is it like, are they going to take I thought of that too. It's like when they play in the regular season, Rays are probably on the first base side since that's the home side over there. Mm-hmm. Are the Yankees going to be in the third base dugout on the?
How many games is that?
And when they're like, "Hey, we're letting you use this," at least
I think they're going through a huge renovation right now too, and
crazy
just for the Rays to use it.
What is it? How many games is that? The Yankees and Rays. They play 12 a season.
I think it's 10 now. So the Yankees will play at least 6 or 7 there.
Yeah, that'll be bizarre. We'll wrap it up with this. I've got one question to close it out, but retirement, post-playing career. What are your plans moving forward? You got anything in the works, or just chill
so
for
I would
while?
like to be help coach outfield defense in some capacity. I would like to maybe do like a special assistant job in a couple years and just be very part-time, but being able to float around the minor leagues and the big leagues and maybe get a couple more big league flights under my belt. I'll miss those more than anything throughout my whole career. But I know I have a lot to offer, and I feel like I can teach outfield defense really, really well, and I'd like to put that on display. And then off topic, I love to bow fish, and there's these fish called common carp. That's the most common thing to shoot probably. And I've been obsessed with trying to track these things. I never know where they're going to be or what they're going to do. And I'm going to try to, I've already been in contact with like several people trying to get like acoustic telemetry receivers so I can like implant them in fish in my lake up in Indiana and try to track them for a year and see if I can do that and just see where they go and like track the data and input all that. I've loved fish and everything nature from a young age, but ever since I bow fished, and there's so many nights where it's like we're going to do great, don't see anything, and there's other nights where you don't know what you're going to do and you have awesome nights. So we sit here and track the moon phase, the barometric pressure, all these things, and I'm going to really try to figure them out and see where they go certain times of the year, and that would bring a lot of joy and satisfaction to me. So I'm hoping I'm able to accomplish that, but that's like my off-the-wall thing away from baseball that
That's awesome.
I want to do. So hopefully we can make it happen.
So you're bringing the analytics into fish.
Into fishing.
There you go.
I just want to track them and see what their tendencies are.
Get the velo.
You play with the Rays too long, not too.
I know. All right, we'll wrap it up with this. Where is Juan Soto landing? Where do you think Soto ends up?
Boy.
And why?
It's going to be to a team who wants to compete for the next 10, 12 years. Dodgers, Yankees, Mets.
You were in Toronto. Hear a lot of Blue Jays talk.
Blue Jay. Oh yeah, I saw they were linked to him. It's got to be a big market team with a lot of dough. Did the Rays reach out? Rays and Royals. I saw the Royals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that I think Mets. I think Steve Cohen is gonna set the bar high, and then Soto can be like, hey, I got $650 on the table. So if you guys don't even think about that, we don't need to have this meeting. But I think the leverage that he's gonna have on all ends, it's gonna be incredible. And Shohei being DH pitcher again, 700, and Soto again it's unreal. But at the same time, that dude he can play. He can absolutely hit, and he's a force.
For sure.
So you're not quick to say the Yankees are going to do whatever it takes?
No. They got Stanton, Judge, Cole, and I know they're not afraid of luxury tax or anything like that, but they got a lot. They got a lot they got to maintain over there unless they can move some pieces, which I don't think would be. You can't trade Cole. You can't trade Judge. Stanton. Rodon. I mean, they got a lot. Mm-hmm. So I think Mets. I think. Hey, don't count the Dodgers out though either, man. Dodgers, they know how to plan things and work around like the contract stuff, and
it's true.
It's crazy. So we'll see, but it's wild that we're at the point now where guys are getting that, and but good for them. Good for them, and this just help other players out coming after them. But I always said, man, I should have tried to hit more homers. Defense will do okay for you, but I should have tried to hit a couple more homers in my career.
He did pretty well. He gave us a little bit more than passing on where you think Soto's going.
Where's he think?
He gave us he changed the verbiage.
He here?
He was yesterday. Yeah,
cool.
I think we're gonna put his episode out after yours.
Okay.
So maybe we won't spoil it. But we asked him his prediction for each of the big free agents, and he's like, I don't do predictions.
He would give predictions. He gave us his best fit.
Best fit.
Okay.
But
all right.
He gave, for each big guy, he gave one best fit. Soto had a lot of best fits.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It'll be interesting.
It will be interesting, yeah.
But 4-time Gold Glove winner, Platinum Glove winner, now a world fucking champion.
World
Kevin
champ.
Kiermaier went out on top. Congrats on a great career.
Thank you.
Congrats,
Thank
man.
you guys
Thanks
for
for
having me.
coming
This was great.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on the Casa De Klub, baby.
It's the price of admission on the Casa De Klub.